Hey guys, another beautiful day in the neighborhood. So had some really great thought feelings when I was tuning in, tapping in, turning on, and loving on myself. And I thought, well, it's a decent log, and I think I'll spit it out. So we'll just see if we can roll with it. I don't know. The words are always the tricky part. So first thing, words being are what they are, we're going to start with some similar ones. And what do we come up with? Wisdom of the woods. I think I said from the woods last time, but I think it's of the woods. I think that's the deeper, new loving version of what I'm picking up here, what I'm presenting to lay down. All right. So, wisdom from the woods, we're going to go back to the same stuff. We're going to work on getting tuned in, tapped in, turned on, connecting to our collective consciousness, knowing that it has all the wisdom and all the knowledge, and it has collectively, we all have everything down here at this vibration under control. They've got it under control from above, okay? You don't come into being a life, you don't go out from being a life without this life saying, that's my plan. Okay, Roger, I'm out. It's my time, it's my plan, it's how I want to do it. Nobody pops out and goes, oh my God, what were you thinking? Why did you let yourself get killed? How could you be so silly to do this or do that? It's like, no. That isn't part of it. So, you're breathing in the perfection of everything around you. I don't understand all the perfection. I don't feel all the perfection, but that's not the problem. The problem is I'm not tuned in, tapped in, turned on. So you're working on getting tuned in, tapped in, turned on. And the farther you get from the last time you were tuned in, tapped in, turned on, the tougher it is to sort of get back. But if you can sort of, catch yourself a little bit other times throughout the day, focusing on your breath, loving yourself, appreciating what you've just been doing. Hey, for the last hour, you've been so kind to yourself. Wow, that really felt good. You were kind to other people too. Felt good, didn't it? Just my last hour of me following my Danny body, But anyway, you plug in your own 3 to 5 year old version of yourself. Just a reminder. That's how you follow the path of least resistance. You assume that it's a 3 to 5 year old version of yourself, all loving, innocent child saying, this feels good, that doesn't. This feels good, let's go this way. And that's all you got to do. You could just call it the path of least resistance, but I think the finger is a good reminder. All right, so when you're not following the finger, then you got to go back to breathing and thinking about the perfection. And that's where some stories come in, like, well, how do you put this all together? Let's play with that. That's sort of the theme of my thoughts before I sat down. So this is the meat of the matter. The meat of the matter is, I don't know what everybody else thinks or how they paint the scenario of reincarnation, religion, life on this planet, where'd we come from, where are we going, the origin and destiny of man. Was an Edgar Cayce book that I read when I was in my teens. And anyway, I didn't read the book. I ingested it like somebody was just clicking on the light in this room. Yes, you have this room, click, click. Oh, and in your mind, you have this room. Yes, click, click. Turn on these things, and it's just like, there's stories I already knew. Once someone turned on the light, I just look in the room and say, oh yeah, all my stuff's here. Cool, we're here again. And this is what I've done in other lives. So, I've heard so many renditions of the same thing, and Edgar Cayce talk about it in so many different ways and contexts that if you go back and find that book, I know it's 100%. Everything from Edgar Cayce's been 100%. But he's got Diet, he's got Origin and Destiny Man, The Life and Times of Jesus, he's got all that stuff. So I digested all that stuff and already felt like I knew it. And I was told since then that is the way it works. Not first. First I felt like I already knew it. Then I heard that that's a thing. We do all already know it. We've been recycling through this planet, this vibration, and doing other things around the other planets in our galaxy in our solar system. Our solar system has a lot of planets, and they have different vibrations and different energetic teachings that can happen at different planets. And that's where we kind of come from, which is why astrology means something. Where were the planets when you were born? It's like people who are our collective consciousness from 10,000 years or 12,000 years from now will have a much better insight into what's really going on and what those planets out there are doing with the people who come from them and all that kind of stuff, because we'll be more tuned in, tapped in, turned on. Our vibration will be higher. Remember from my old randomly picked 70-degree vibration, once you get past it, everything starts to make sense. And when you're in that vibration, if you can go in that vibration and you hear stuff like Edgar Cayce's description of the origin and destiny of man, and that we, after parting, migrate to or somehow get influenced by different planets' teachings. And anyway, for $20, the Edgar Cayce Foundation will give you a little packlet about yay thick of all your birth stuff and what the planets all meant, you know, based on the cleanest version of an organization that's been around for, 80 years, gathering up Edgar Cayce's, all of his teachings. And basically, if you don't know his story, he went into a trance. He was guided. So if you learn his whole story, it's like, oh, you were guided. Just like the story I'm going to tell you right now. Edgar Cayce was guided because when he was a child, he saw visions and all kinds of weird stuff. And then he later lost his voice, and somebody put him in a trance. And in a trance, he told them the story why he lost his voice. Because he was in sales of insurance, and that wasn't what his soul came here to do. And he needed to get out of that. And the only thing that his connection could exist with. So when he was tuned in, tapped in, turned on, he had to be in a trance. So, I mean, he would go to sleep and he would talk, but he would be unconscious of it. So he really had a strong disconnect and ability to do that. So that's when he said about the Akashic records, and that's where he went and got all the information and stuff. You'll have your own vision of how it works, but it'll probably be similar to one that other people have used, because we're all tapping in sort of the same way, and or at least tapping into the same thing. We may be tapping in another way, But anyway, when you're tuned in, tapped in, turned on, like I could have gone down with Edgar Cayce's perfection of his life. And he did tell the doctor, by the way, how to fix his voice so he could talk. And he did the doctor did it, and his voice came back. And then the guy continued, even like a year or two went on. He never did anything else with it again. But then the guy's like, let's do another meditation. And anyway, then they ended up putting a stenographer right there with him, somehow way at the beginning. They documented everything he ever said. But now there's a whole bunch of those channels popping out with all kinds of love information. And again, if it's not feeling totally like love, then it's not that love is not what's above. There's static on the line. Static on the line is anything to do with fear, and that's what I would be the contributor of static on the line if I've got it. So we're trying to avoid static on the line. And the news is all static. It's all fear. I don't care how you look at it, how you paint it. The commercials are fear. It's... Sorry. Anyway, it's a soap opera that is created because we really... If you're just swimming, if you're not tuned in, tapped in, turned on, what are you doing? You're so outside of yourself. Everything outside of yourself is so important and so interesting. So you latch on to something outside of yourself. I really didn't want to get into the TV thing or the outside of yourself influence, but going back to tuned in, tapped in, turned on, loving on yourself was really the theme of this one. So when you're loving on yourself, which is not while you're watching TV, but when you're loving on yourself and you're giving yourself the time and space and you're hanging out with yourself, because remember, that's what the virus brought us. The virus cannot exist in love vibration. It can only exist in the fear vibration. So the virus comes in because the fear vibration came in. The fear vibration is what we're all feeling while we feel a little bit like, I'm not sick, but I feel like there's definitely something I need to watch out for. And it hit the whole planet pretty much at the same time. And it's a phenomena. And it's so cool, and none of the history books told me about this coming. But did I prepare for it? Sure, because a year ago I sort of stopped working and said, I want to work, but I'm not going to. I want to work, but I'm not going to. I need to work, but I'm not going to. I need to work, but I'm not going to. And I stuck to this process. I'm like, I'm going to double down on my meditation. I'm going to pop something out. I don't know where I'm going. I have no idea. And it migrated, and you look back at the things that have happened in your life, and you start to see where the perfection has come out. But your scenario, you can't compare to mine and say, oh, he did that, I didn't. It's back to your paradigm of what did I do wrong and how did I mess it all up, and I'm not a good person and I'm not deserving and that's not me, and all that negativity, which is what you'll see outside of yourself and what you want to turn away from, and not at all what you're going to get when you tune in, tap in, and turn on. So if you want to call it meditation, you want to call it relaxing, you want to call it quitting your job, I don't know what it is, but just every day follow a little less of the sense of duty and something that you need to accomplish here. Focus, like I said yesterday, the big helicopter view. The helicopter view first, and you look at how simple things, from the simple side of things, the 24,000 years that the planet's going around the galaxy, and the vibration is on its lowest, and that's just what we've done, is what people on a low vibration do. I'm not a higher vibration than other people, but I just chose to talk about this, so I just latch onto all these ideas, and so I'm a teacher. But what is really to be taught? Spirituality. So I'm a spiritual teacher. Tuning in, tapping in, turning on, but I can't do anything else. I can't hold down, I can't even work at the same time. I can't even be with anyone. I'm out here in the woods. So it's just I'm focusing all my focus in one direction, which is spirituality, and what's this all about, and how do I get a message back to the people who are struggling right now. And apparently I got on the mission long before this day, because of my birth, because of my everything. One of the cool little fun things, let's do it. When, you need to find some loving things about your connection to above. And it's like, well, I came from this scary, all-knowing place, and I'm going back to this scary, all-knowing place. Why would you want to integrate with scary, unknown now? I guess that makes sense. So if that's your paradigm, that's scary up there, we should look at it a little bit. Now, these souls that you've had, if we're rolling through this circle, as we go around 24,000 years around the galaxy, the planet also has souls coming into matter and going out, coming into matter and going out, coming into matter and going out. So we do this sort of cyclically, and we get into a vibration. So anyone that you're here experiencing life with, your parents, your family, your siblings, your children, your best friends, your co-workers, and on out, anyone that you've had any little connection to, it goes all the way out to the waitress at a table or whatever, but there's nobody that you have a connection with that you don't already have had a connection with. No new connections, unfortunately. But you get rounds with people and you have different relationships. Here's the weird part. So like you might have been someone's mother before, and now you're their son. And there's something tricky about the male-female energy, and we're trying to integrate that. We're trying to mesh everything in. So of course I'm trying to mesh my higher consciousness, my light of divinity, my soul, into this matter of who I am in this moment. That's my goal. And then to stay there. But anyway, but at the same time, so everyone has that same drive. Oh, I was talking about your siblings and your family and all these people you have a connection with. So you're working things out with them is not a to-do. It's a fun thing. It's like no different than high school play. What role did you get? Oh, I'm the bad guy. I'm the villain. I'm the perpetrator. I'm the whatever. And you come and roll that out. The only thing that's a little bit different is you don't audition for it. You're already that vibration. If that's kind of the vibration you're playing in, nobody's going to put harsh words on you, but that's where we're going to get the vibration of fear and doubt. Because when you come here to planet Earth, you want to mix with fear and doubt, unfortunately. What do you think, it's all a mistake? Like God wanted it to be perfect and heavenly all the time, but he couldn't make it happen. Jesus wasn't strong enough, and until he comes back, we're just going to have to live with this place. No. He came here to show us who we were, which was love and connection, and that heaven was within. That's the simple, when you boil it all down, that's what he came to say. Heaven's within. Settle down. Take it easy. Doesn't all matter. Love the one you're with. Stay tuned in, tapped in, turned on, and the Heavenly Father will guide you. But, collective consciousness, they didn't have that word. It's the collective consciousness. It's all of us. Yeah, we're all one. Yep, that's true too. And but you're your own expression of it. You came here to drop a love bomb and to be that beautiful person that you were before you came in and got mixed in with all your family and your vibrations around you, and said, I feel that. I feel the difference between this vibration, which feels a little lower and kind of painful, and this one. I feel the difference. I'm going to choose this one. That's how the universe bobs everyone to the top. You just let go and you bob to the top, because there's nowhere else to go but love and perfection. So whatever funkiness you've done in the past, kiss it, love it, let it go. All right, I'm seeing a pattern. They've been running to 15 minutes, and this one was 15 minutes. So we did end on a love bomb naturally. So I'm gonna let this one just ride. It just went its natural course at the pace it wanted. Some other things I've thought about, things I've loved about myself, some of the cool little funny things about how the universe works and how souls come in together. We'll get into that another time, but it's some cool, fun stuff. I have a loving version of how this all plays out. And I don't think other people do. I don't think they could integrate a possibility of a more loving version of heaven, hell, and heaven within, and all this beautiful stuff that's going on around you, and the total wasted time on fear. That isn't said as well as I should, but that means we're going downhill here, folks. So it's time to go. I'm wasting your time now. All right. Love you guys. Good luck. Happy trails.